Thank you, President Chop. Just one correction. My father worked in a union hospital. It's been almost 50 years, actually 47 to be exact, since I was sitting where you are. And all that time, I haven't been back, not once, until today. I'm happy and humbled by the honor that Swarthmore has given me. I'm smitten again by the beauty of this place, and I'm privileged to be sharing with you and your loved ones this joyous and this triumphant occasion. But I ask myself, why has it taken me so long to come back? Well, for the past 20 or 30 years, the answer might be fear of ghosts. Mine, those of others. I moved into Ashton, where I stayed last night, as a freshman 51 years ago. As President Chop said, my parents, who were with me then, were German Jews who had fled to Istanbul in 1938, where I was born in 45. We moved to West Virginia in 1950. I was thrilled and I was terrified when I arrived here in September 1963. And as President Chop said, I knew nothing about the college except that Harper's Magazine said it was the best college in America. There were faculty here then who were much like my parents' friends. Swarthmore had an exceptional record of welcoming refugees from fascism. The founder of Gestalt psychology, Wolfgang Kohler, had retired by the time I came here, but I took my introductory psychology course from one of his students, Hans Wallach. I studied in German seminars with Hilde Kohn and Franz Mautner. I went to my first Seder ever. There wasn't much of a Jewish tradition in West Virginia, at the home of the great German classicist Martin Oswald. Yes. I also found, like you guys, a stunningly brilliant and engaging group of fellow students and a deeply engaged and demanding faculty. The class of 1967 is now scattered around the world, and we're on the brink of retirement. Only few of the faculty that I knew then are still alive. Well, I didn't make explicit of myself, but maybe the reason I haven't returned since graduation is that I was afraid that all I'd find were specters of lost time, my parents' lost world, and my own. It would be sad. But this melancholy, and I want to add unnecessary anxiety, doesn't explain why I felt no need to come back for the first 20 or 30 years after I graduated, when that world was not yet lost. Now, I do not recommend, let me repeat, I do not recommend that you follow my example, and the Alumni Association is positively hostile to it. But in my defense, let me say that my reasons for not coming back are not entirely neurotic. In some ways, I felt no real need to come back because I carried my time at Swarthmore with me, inside me, and in the world I inhabit. I made my lifelong best friend, Alexander Nehamas, in my sophomore year when I directed him in a play about Superman. It's called The St. Louis Hegelians. It had only 3 performances, written by one of our classmates. I remained close to others that I knew when I was here. And with many Swarthmore graduates that I've met since leaving, I share a bond. I think that'll be true of you. Swarthmore nourished in me the conviction that ideas and the life of the mind matter desperately, no matter what we're called to in our lives. Serious people think. Not at Princeton or at Oxford, where I studied later, was I ever again so passionately, so existentially caught up with philosophy and histories and the life of the mind more generally. Getting Descartes' argument about the distinction between mind and body, between mental and physical substance right in Charles Raff's 5- and 6-hour-long seminars seemed to me of ultimate importance. No, I'm not going to tell you that you can't thrive without figuring out Descartes' 5th meditation. But I can tell you that the energy and the seriousness and the thrill with which you've engaged in ideas, in whatever you studied the last 4 years, will remain with you and will be the emotional and the intellectual infrastructure of a good life. Swarthmore is scary, or at least it was for me. I don't know what it was like for you, but I felt that everyone in my class was smarter than I was, and that I'd been admitted by mistake. I don't think I was alone in that view, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. But one reason I must say that I was so inordinately pleased when President Chupp wrote to me to say that Swarthmore would offer me an honorary degree was at least the college was willing, with open eyes this time, to make the same mistake twice. So scary though it might be, this is also a place that gave me, and I hope will give you, courage and trust in yourselves. Trust in your abilities. You got through here. If you need to, you can produce 10 coherent pages overnight. Your experiments will get done. Your data will get cleaned up. You know you can do it. But more importantly, Swarthmore gave me, and I think will give you, trust in yourself, in your moral and intellectual compass. The Quaker tradition speaks of the inner life, light, also the inner life. But there's another name for the conviction that because you've thought and felt deeply about something, you can rely on what you come up with. Your heart and your mind are pointing you in the same direction. My hope for you today is that you savor the joy of the moment, the fruits of your hard work, the beauty that surrounds you, the love of your family and friends. But I also hope that you'll take with you what's precious about your 4 years here into your future, and that these years will live in you. Let me say finally that I was wrong these past 5 decades. There's not a trade-off between the inner and the outer Swarthmore. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to come home. And now finally, congratulations, Swarthmore class of 2014. Well done.